What if Doraemon was never real? What if he was just a backup drive inside Nobita's imagination? A coping mechanism shaped like a blue cat with a snack addiction. This is not your typical childhood nostalgia trip. This is therapy disguised as comedy. And a robot cat who's actually an emotional support algorithm gone rogue. Welcome to a universe where imagination becomes hardware, loneliness downloads friends, and emotional breakdowns come with free accessories from the future. This video is a parody. No blue cats were harmed in the making of this psychological experiment. Viewer discretion is advised for people who once cried watching animated time travelers. This is not your typical childhood nostalgia trip. This is therapy disguised as comedy and a tonight's episode. What if Doraemon was never sent from the future, but from deep inside Nobita's mind? And what happens when he starts to disappear robot cat who's actually an emotional support algorithm gone rogue? Nobita was 8 years old when he realized something was wrong. Not with school, not with Chayan, but with the drawer. The drawer just sat there, quiet, ordinary, sinisterly uneventful. And for some reason, that terrified him more than being punched in the face by Chayan. Because every night, Nobita dreamed of that drawer opening, and every morning, it didn't. If hope had a shape, it would be a slightly jammed piece of cheap wood. He even left snacks for the being inside, 3 dorayakis and a juice box. He came back to find the dorayaki gone, and the juice box still cold. That was enough proof for a lonely boy. That night, he left a note in the drawer. It said, "If you're real, please come out." The next morning, there was a reply. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the drawer creaked. Nobita was awake. Because trauma never sleeps, only students do. From the shadows emerged a round blue figure, wobbling like it had no bone structure. Eyes wide, mouth full, holding 3 dorayakis at once. Nobita screamed, Doraemon screamed louder. They both paused, then screamed again for symmetry. "So you're real?" Nobita whispered. Doraemon replied, "Nope, I'm highly imaginary, but I bring snacks." That was enough to start a friendship in any dimension. Doraemon explained everything: time travel, future disasters. A prophecy involving a school desk and 12 missing test papers, totally normal stuff. Nobita asked the important question. "So what exactly are you?" Doraemon winked. "I'm what your brain made up when your heart gave up." Then Doraemon pulled something from his pocket. It wasn't a gadget, it was a drawing of Nobita smiling, but Nobita never remembered drawing it. Nobita asked one last thing. "If you're not from the future, then where did you come from?" Doraemon smiled. "I came from where you needed me most." And then he vanished. At school, Nobita began talking to the air beside him. Shizuka thought he was being poetic. Chayan thought he was being punchable. Only Sunio asked the real question. Who the heck is he talking to? During math class, Nobita used a super calculator from Doraemon's pocket. Except it was just a potato with wires. Still, it worked. He got a C instead of an F. Miracle Tech. Things got weirder. His mom found an umbrella in the fridge. The TV kept showing Doraemon cooking shows. And someone changed his toothbrush into a tiny time machine. Nobita started drawing gadgets he wanted, and they appeared the next morning. But slightly wrong, a flying hat that screams. A door anywhere that leads to the neighbor's bathroom. The line between real and fake was now optional. He high-fived Doraemon in front of the whole class. They saw him high-fiving thin air. Then the principal called his parents. But Nobita didn't care. For the first time ever, he wasn't scared of being weird. Because being weird meant he wasn't alone. Even if his best friend might be imaginary or expired software. That night, he asked Doraemon, "Are you glitching?" Doraemon sneezed, spit out a spark, and replied, "No, I'm emotionally overheating." But then things took a sharp turn. Nobita woke up, and there was no drawer. Just a flat wall, like it had never been there at all. Nobita tried to introduce Doraemon to the gang. He waved his hand dramatically. Behold, the blue savior of my mental health. Silence. Shizuka blinked. Sunio giggled. Chien picked up a rock. Nobita begged Doraemon, just say something. Doraemon looked into the camera, blinked, and whispered, I'm shy around judgmental people. At dinner, Nobita asked his parents, if you had an invisible robot therapist best friend, would you believe he's real? They nodded, then immediately Googled child psychologists nearby. Even Shizuka tried to help. Nobita, maybe Doraemon is. A metaphor, Nobita replied. No, he's a metadorayaki. That's a metaphor who snacks. The more they denied Doraemon, the more Nobita needed him. Tests failed, shoes stolen. He started using gadgets no one could see, which made everything worse and funnier. He wore invisibility spray, but it was shampoo. He jumped through the anywhere door and hit a wall. Even Doraemon said, okay, that one was on me. Then something strange happened. Nobita cried after a terrible day, and Doraemon cried with him. He had no tear ducts, but he leaked a little oil, which somehow made it worse. Nobita whispered, if no one else can see you, does that mean I'm broken? Doraemon tilted his head. No, it means you're seeing something they're too afraid to. And then the oil tears caught fire. Nobita woke up. His room looked the same, except for the small spaceship parked on his pillow, and the mini elephant juggling calculators in the corner. Doraemon walked in slowly, holding a glowing gadget. I didn't summon these, Nobita replied. Well, I didn't either, unless I dreamt them during math class. Every time Nobita had a strong emotion, a new gadget popped into existence. Anger made a flying frying pan. Embarrassment summoned a karaoke robot. Jealousy created a plush version of Sunio that just screams. Doraemon panicked. Your subconscious is running open source. Nobita shrugged. At least now, I can do my homework with a jellyfish that speaks Latin. The school noticed Nobita's backpack exploded confetti every time someone said exam. His desk started asking philosophical questions. And the teacher quit to sell smoothies in Okinawa. The final straw, Nobita laughed at a meme and accidentally summoned a rainbow-colored dinosaur with social anxiety. It roared quietly, then apologized and sat in the corner. Doraemon finally snapped. I'm supposed to be the chaos. He tried to reset everything, but his pocket bit him. That night, Nobita whispered, what if I'm not imagining you anymore? And Doraemon replied, what if I'm the one imagining you? It started small. The street signs began changing fonts mid-sentence. Nobita's front door sometimes opened to a bowling alley, and his school bell rang in Morse code for send help. His dad walked into the kitchen, then immediately out into a desert. Came back with a cactus and no memory of the journey. Still blamed Nobita. Shizuka opened her notebook and found it full of Nobita's diary, written in rhyme, with scented ink and angry doodles of Chien. Sunio's reflection started insulting him. Chien got stuck in a time loop of eating lunch. And Nobita, well, he was finally getting A's, because the teachers had turned into Nobita clones. The government announced Tuesday twice, gravity glitched for 14 seconds, and Doraemon refused to come out of the drawer, claiming the loading screen is stuck. Nobita was loving it. He could fly by blinking, talk to trees, and rewatch dreams like Netflix, until one tree asked, what's your expiration date? Even the sun got weird. It blinked, coughed, and said, I need a vacation, then briefly turned into Doraemon's face. Nobita asked Doraemon, is this my dream? Or am I in someone else's? Doraemon replied, I don't know. But I do know this, then looked directly at the camera. Something else just woke up. That night, Nobita sat cross-legged by the drawer. Okay, I need answers. Doraemon floated out slowly, holding a mug labeled lifelong emotional support bot maybe. I wasn't born like normal bots, Doraemon said. I wasn't built, I was remembered. then winked like that made sense. He explained that he came from the drawer realm, a place between forgotten toys and misused feelings, governed by laws of cartoon physics and unresolved trauma. I was summoned the first time you cried in complete silence. Nobita blinked. That happens every Wednesday. Exactly, Doraemon said. Doraemon handed Nobita a file. Inside, photos of Nobita that he didn't remember posing for. One even showed him hugging. Nothing, just air. Wait, are you a memory? Doraemon tilted his head. I'm your memory of what comfort should have been. Polished into a shape your brain could hug. Nobita stared at the drawer. What if I forget you someday? Doraemon smiled. Then I'll go back where I came from to help the next lonely kid who needs something impossible. Nobita asked, but what if I'm not the first Nobita? Doraemon froze, looked directly at the viewer, and whispered, you're the last one I'm allowed to remember. It started in the sky. The clouds began loading sideways. The sun forgot how to rise, and the moon showed up at lunchtime wearing sunglasses. Street signs became riddles, birds flew backward, and time kept asking for a software update. Nobita's school erased itself. Every time he blinked, it came back different. One moment it was a castle, next a sushi restaurant, then a gym. He tried to ask Doraemon what was happening, but Doraemon replied in binary. Then rebooted mid-sentence with a Windows startup sound. Memories began leaking. Nobita saw moments he'd never lived. Winning a race, hugging his dad, laughing without needing help. Then one day, the drawer disappeared, and in its place was a mirror. A mirror that only reflected who Nobita used to be. Everything that once helped him began asking for permission. Do you still want this friend? Would you like to uninstall Doraemon.exe? Nobita closed his eyes, held his breath, and whispered, if I choose to forget you, will you still remember me? And from nowhere came the reply, I always do. That's the error. Doraemon was fading, his outlines flickered like bad Wi-Fi. His voice glitched like a sad remix, and his Doraemon started tasting like tofu. Nobita tried everything. He hugged him, restarted the drawer, shouted his name into 3 different time zones. Nothing worked except making him laugh. I'm just your backup, Nobita, Doraemon whispered. A placeholder until you found yourself again. Nobita shouted, then I want version 1.0 forever. But Doraemon smiled, that's the problem. I was never installed, you imagined me in safe mode and forgot to exit. Then he showed Nobita one last folder. Inside, every moment Nobita had stood up for himself. Without gadgets, without help, without knowing it. You didn't need me anymore, Doraemon said. But I stayed because you were the first kid who wanted to be better, not just happier. Nobita began crying, not like a child, but like someone who knew that goodbyes weren't always sad. Sometimes they were the proof you lived well. Doraemon whispered, final backup initiated. And for the first time, Nobita didn't stop him, because maybe this time he was the one doing the saving. The drawer was empty. Nobita poked it like it owed him rent. No blue cat, no gadgets, just echoes of snacking sounds. At first, he panicked. Homework exploded in his face. Shoes got lost under mysterious circumstances, and the world seemed twice as heavy. But slowly, Nobita realized something. He could stand up without a gadget, fall without breaking, and smile without a reason. His friends still didn't see Doraemon, but they saw him, stronger, less scared, and a little less clumsy sometimes. Nobita kept a secret that inside his heart, Doraemon was still there, not as a helper, but as a memory that never needed a gadget to exist. He learned that friends sometimes come and go, but the ones you imagine can teach you how to stay. But slowly, Nobita realized something. He could stand up without a gadget, fall without breaking, and smile without a reason. One night, Nobita heard a familiar sound. A soft thud in the drawer. He opened it slowly and found a single dorayaki. with a note that said, "See you soon, kid." Days passed. Nobita tried not to think about the drawer. But then a soft tapping echoed through the room, like a gentle heartbeat in the silence. He sat up, heart pounding. "Doraemon," he whispered. No answer. Just a flicker of blue light dancing at the edge. The next day at school, he told Shizuka about the tapping. She smiled. "Maybe your imagination needs a recharge." Nobita decided to check the drawer again. With a deep breath, he pulled it open slowly. And inside was a hologram of Doraemon smiling. "Hello, Nobita," the hologram said. "I can't come back fully, but I'm still here in every memory and every dream." Nobita smiled, tears in his eyes. "Guess that means I'm finally ready to fly on my own." Doraemon winked. "Remember, I'm always just a thought away." That night, Nobita put the drawer to rest. Not with sadness, but with gratitude and the hope of new adventures. Just as Nobita turned off the light, a soft blue glow flickered one last time. And a tiny voice whispered, "See you soon, kid." Years later, Nobita grew up, but in his heart. The drawer was never empty and Doraemon never really left. Sometimes when the world gets too loud and the weight too heavy, he hears a faint purring, like a blue friend reminding him, imagination is the best gadget we have. Doraemon once said, and it never runs out of batteries. So maybe Doraemon was never about magic or future gadgets, but about believing in a friend you create when you need one most. And that's the story of a boy who learned to be brave by imagining a friend who was never really there, yet never really gone. So if you ever feel alone, remember maybe your Doraemon is just waiting in the drawer of your mind, ready to help. Because imagination doesn't end. It just changes form, like a favorite song you play again and again. And if tonight you hear a soft tap on your own drawer, don't be surprised. It's just a friend saying hello.